Welcome to Off the Scale, the podcast where we dive deep into the journeys of the world's top short-term rental property managers. Join us as we uncover their secrets to scaling success, from pivotal milestones to the lessons learned through mistakes and triumphs. Hosted by Scale family members Damien Sheridan, Jan Paulo Vieiro, and Louise Brace. Off the Scale reveals what drives these leaders each day and the indispensable tools that propelled them to the top. Tune in for inspiring stories, actionable insights, and the ultimate blueprint for scaling your own short-term rental business.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Off the Scales podcast, where we interview some of the leading property managers from around the world, and we find out about how they've scaled their short-term rental business. My name is Damien Sheridan, and today I have the pleasure of speaking with Robin Bass of Premier Properties USVI, based in St Croix. Have I pronounced that correctly? Yeah.
Perfectly.
Robin, the European in me wants to say St Croix, but I'm St Croix in the US Virgin Islands. And you know what? I was going to say you manage certain amounts of properties, largest BMC in the island, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Robin. Tell us a little bit about you, the company, how perhaps you got started in this crazy short-term rental industry.
I know, right? Crazy short-term rental industry it is, but we love it. That's why we do it, and we have a passion for it. So that's why we do it. First of all, thank you very much for having me today. I'm honored to be here in your presence. I always love chatting with you, and so thank you. With that being said, yes, I started Premier Properties USVI in St Croix of the US Virgin Islands. How did I get there? Everyone always asks, wait, you obviously were not born there. Yes, well, I grew up in New England, and then I lived in New York City off and on for 20 years. And that's where I established, well, my work ethic. In New York City, I thought the work ethic was like that everywhere. It's really in your DNA. And I remember for decades, I thought, I was just trying to find my fit. You know, I was a tour guide for my university, Johnson & Wales University, Providence alumni. And also I worked for the Tourism Bureau of New York City in sales capacity. I worked for Bubba Gump Shrimp Company restaurant sales capacity, Grand Hyatt New York sales capacity, receptive tour operator handling inbound travel, overseeing operations, logistics. I just wasn't finding my niche. And then I moved to St. Croix when I was 40 years old. And I thought people thought my personality would work well with real estate. So I thought, why not try it? And I had a temporary real estate license. And all of a sudden in 2016 in St. Croix, I got property management opportunities, literally fell in my lap. And by fell in my lap, it was a realtor who was just not interested in managing condos and wanted to manage houses. Well, when that was provided to me, 10 properties at once, I thought, because of my experience in New York City, and I'm used to structure and accountability and notes, I saw a huge need for structure and accountability within property management. So there I started growing. And working in the Caribbean island is different in the sense that when you come from New York City, you have someone you hire, they're there at 10 o'clock. If they're even, 10 minutes late, you call, maybe upset, won't use them again, move on, because you have 100 plumbers in New York City. Not in St. Croix. And in St. Croix, I like to say in the Caribbean islands, and something people really don't talk about, I truly believe the currency is kindness, because in New York City, people get they get the job done, but really their motivation can be, I got to pay my rent. I have to pay my rent to live in New York. But in the Caribbean, it's not that attitude. They don't care if they don't make the rent that weekend. If I'm going to give them attitude, they're not going to show up. They'll only work for someone who provides them a good quality of life, meaning kindness. And so I learned that in a short amount of time when I hired my first plumber. And I said, Kareem, he was late. I said, hello. Oh, sorry, got held up. I'm like, okay. And I learned that to be kind. I mean, to be honest, I love being nice to people. So that came naturally. But I learned right away in working in a management position that it's, hey, how are you? Great. Oh, can you get there today? Yeah, I'll get there sometime today. Okay, between 9 and 12 or between 12 and 4? Okay, Robin, I'll be there between 12 and 2. Great, thank you so much. So just learning the culture and also dialing back the I need it done now. So internally, I was so used to saying, I need it done now, I need it done now. It was dialing back saying, hey, how are you today? Would you be able to do this? So I really feel I formed a relationship with the vendors, and that's very important in property management. I could not do what I do without my fabulous housekeepers, without my fabulous appliance guy. What I mean by that, when you live in the Caribbean island, you have salt everywhere because from the ocean, it's in the elements of the island. I remember I spoke with someone who lived on the coast of Florida, and they said, oh, I know what you mean about that. And I said, not really. You're in an island surrounded by the ocean, surrounded by the elements. So you really have to be on point with maintenance. So maintenance was really my first priority with my properties I managed. And I'm naturally sales and marketing. You get me a room of 300 people, you've seen me, Damien. I love chatting up. I love making people feel fabulous. And so that I use that sales technique with my vendors because to let them know, like, I care about you and then paying on time. So as I was working for other companies and I was slowly gaining experience. I worked under one realtor where my properties were now at 14 and it was almost 18. And I said, I'm losing business because I was only told set the properties on VRBO or Airbnb. And I noticed that when I would send 5 different links of 5 different properties I managed, I wouldn't get the business. And I realized, I thought, you know what? Because we live in an ADD world. You look on VRBO, oh, that's a prettier property. I want that. And I thought, how can I need a platform where I have only the properties I manage on my website and then you book online, accept payment online? Is this possible? So I started researching and I reached out to this realtor company. It was a national branch. And so I reached out to their Facebook page for Second Home Market. So what do you recommend? So they recommend LiveRes, which was my first step into vacation rental software. And if there's a question, how did I know to have this software? It's because of my experience. To go back to when I told you I worked for the tourism bureau, the restaurants and hotels. I learned from there a CRM is very important for accountability. You need documentation. And also for me, especially, and I hate to bring this up, but as a woman in the Caribbean, it kind of stepped back a couple notches because I worked and lived in New York City. And I was just used to, I showed up, did my numbers, was kind to people, got the job done. People respected me. I had to start at the bottom of the totem pole, so to speak, 8 years ago in St. Croix. And so therefore I knew I had to have that accountability with the software. So I start LiveRes and then I upgraded my software to Streamline a year and a half ago. And that is a game changer with vacation rental software because again, it's accountability. But another thing with property management, and I talked about very important with vendor relations, is financial. I grew up Catholic. My mother was a nun, so my Catholic guilty conscience is through the roof. And my father wasn't a priest. She left the convent before she had me, for the record. But anyway, I know it's a great story. With that being said, when working with finances, it's not my money, and I'm very serious. I know I'm passionate about it because I'm like, I don't have a backup. I don't have someone I can call saying, oh, I screwed up with my finances. So can you help me? So I love the fact that with Streamline, it provided me the accountability with my owners for financial reports. So now I have automated financial reports every month. And again, it's transparency, et cetera. So I went from living in New York City with all my experience saying, oh, I'm not finding my niche, to saying, well, the universe provided when I came to property management St. Croix, because every experience I had really provided me to have a successful property management company. So at one point I was by myself. So I'm answering the phones, putting my guest relations cap on, and then the next minute it's vendor relation cap, and the next minute was bookkeeping cap. And now I hired a bookkeeper. Now I have an assistant who can assist me. So it's really exciting. So that's a long answer to your question, but so I started my own business in August 2021.
Okay, great. You mentioned that obviously in the past you set your properties on the likes of Airbnb and Vrbo, and presumably they brought in a lot of bookings for you, and you did well. My guess, and I know this from talking to you at many conferences, is you have pushed your own direct booking strategies, and you work a lot with guest loyalty to bring those repeat bookings back, etc. Tell us about that, how that kind of mindset shifted, but from relying on the OTAs to perhaps, just doing things, being proactive yourself, and really kind of harnessing those guest relationships and getting more direct bookings.
Thank you so much for asking that. This is where I like to be neutral, like Switzerland. Is that, I love this soft vacation rental software because I can be neutral like Switzerland. I have my all of my properties I manage on VRBO, Airbnb, and Homes and Villas by Marriott International. Very excited about that one. I have to give them a little shout out because I'm the first and only property management company in St Croix that works with Homes and Villas by Marriott. Also booking.com and now Google Vacation Rentals. And what I love about that is that all the calendars are connected because of the software. For me, it gives me anxiety attack if I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to have a double booking. So because that has happened. So it's taking the preventative measures to make sure that doesn't happen with software. I like to give the opportunity for guests, and by having a great website, by having a great SEO presence, that has increased my direct bookings. And also with VRBO and Airbnb bookings, my guests, if they have a lot of questions, I always say, let's set up a Zoom call. And in fact, I have a Zoom call on October 9th with a guest arriving in January. And that's where I like to chat with the guests, prepare them for a successful vacation in paradise. And it's very important too for I feel this is very important for when people come to Virgin Islands from stateside, because we're not like the United States. We're a territory. So we don't have Uber, we don't have Lyft, we don't have Starbucks, we don't have Dunkin' Donuts or any things that a lot of stateside are used to. So I want to prepare them for success so they have a great experience. So by building that relationship and saying, let's have a Zoom call or a phone call or answering their questions and preparing them for success, that is where it helps out. Hey, book direct with me and save on those VRBO and Airbnb fees. And that's how I work it with a neutral way. And I have returning guests. I mean, I have a returning guest for the last 4 years at one property, stays for over a month in January. So it's really, that's how I do is build that. I'm old fashioned meets modern. Modern with using the technology, but old fashioned, just having a high empathy for our guests and feeling, oh, they're asking a lot of questions. Let me have a Zoom call and let them know, like, I care about you. Think of me as your big sister during your stay here in St. Croix.
I love that, Robin. What about those people who are listening to this thinking, I don't have time for Zoom calls? This is, my head is, I'm all in on everything that you've mentioned. Bookings, transactions, changeovers, etc. I don't have time to do Zoom calls. What would be your response to that?
I relate. I mean, I was doing a lot more Zoom calls even 2 years ago. And so what I would do is I would wake up at 6 a.m., get on my emails, respond to emails. And so I could have, 2 to 3 Zoom calls a day, or just at least one. Make the time. It's just like anything in life, for working out, that's something I have to make the time more of. But, there are certain things that I'd say just make the time. And I'm a huge believer in to-do lists. I'm very old fashioned. I have my little notebook here every day, and I have a to-do list every day. Or sometimes if anyone saw it, it would be like Wednesday, and then the next line, and Thursday. because I didn't finish that to-do list. But having my to-do list every day and being mindful is really helpful with that, and just making the time for that Zoom. Because again, as I said earlier, I used to wear many caps. So from the bookkeeping cap, guest relations cap, vendor relations, it's just making the time. Like, I'm on this Zoom call right now, my phone is turned over. So I make sure, just don't look at it, focus on the people at hand for just that 20 minutes or a half hour and make them feel fabulous. Because increase of technology, people are wanting to feel recognized and valued. And I want, that's my goal with my guests at my properties.
I love that. I did not know you had a PA. So that's a testament to you, because whenever I've been speaking to you, I didn't know you had anyone else. You are all in. It's all about you. And I love that. Something I'm a real advocate for in terms of direct booking strategies is being real, and for your brand, for you to be a part of your brand where possible. You know, it's that's subject to how big your company is, obviously, but not to be a faceless organization. You are the epitome of this. Your company is you. This is how I see it, at least. Anyway, you're very engaging on all your social media posts. I mean, I don't know how you get time to do work anyway with those blue seas and everything. But I really see that you are an important part of your brand, if not the actual brand being you. Tell me about that. How you consider yourself to be part of the of your brand vision, values, morals, etc.
Well, thank you very much. You've just made my day, because it's, you know, after 8 a.m. here. So you're starting the day right. So thank you. You know, as an entrepreneur, you know, I'm my own worst enemy. And I'm a people pleaser meets entrepreneur. So that's fun. And so with that being said, to answer your question of the brand, I've always been customer service and guest relations oriented. And this property management opportunity, literally, like I said, it fell in my lap years ago. And I felt it was signed, you know, from the universe. Wow, this is something I'm really enjoying, making people feel fabulous. And so when it comes down to my brand, it's even my logo. I actually sketched my logo. I just, one morning I was like, okay, I'm gonna go out on my own and have my own business. I knew that I had a logo that needs to shine through, and not just my face, because, you know, thank goodness my mother got braces for me growing up, so I can smile a lot. But with that being said, I remember sitting there and drawing, and I still have this drawing of a palm tree, and I wanted people to feel as if they were at a home with heart and feel warm and fuzzy. And so I had a little house with a heart in it. And then I love the elegance of a Victorian key. So I thought, wouldn't that be cool to have a palm tree? The home is where the heart is, and a Victorian key. So for a little bit class. And I went on Fiverr. I don't know if you've heard of Fiverr. I love Fiverr. It's so great for the small business owner, because you have other hungry small business creative entrepreneurs out there saying, I can do this for you. I'm like, and that's all it costs? That's great, because I don't have a big budget. And I said, can you make this look better? And they did, and that's what my logo is to this day. So it looks a little bit more elegant than my chicken scratches. But yeah, that's how with the brand. And I just always come from the heart. And I tell my team, because now I have a fabulous personal assistant since October. And so I can sleep at nights. And then I have a tropical troubleshooter, I call him. And it's now updated my website. And I have another one I'm trying to get his picture and bio to put on there. But it's wonderful to have a team that I meet with every Monday morning, and I let them know, I'm like, I told them yesterday, I said, it's truly a privilege what we do. We are so lucky. So that's how I continue with the brand, is continuing to communicate with my team that this is a privilege. We have these fabulous homes, from a 1-bedroom condo to a 7-bedroom house that we manage. We don't take that for granted. Our owners are trusting us. And with that, just constantly communicating and letting them know, and with the brand and being in touch with locals and vendors, just letting them know and communicate that we care. So, and that's how I work with my brand, is that I want everyone to know when they walk into Premier Properties USVI property that it's clean, that they're welcomed. And how do we do that? We have a welcome book, like in a hotel. There's a binder in each room. So I said, why not have that in the properties I'm in? Sure, we have a binder, 3-ring binder with the information plastic covers because of the elements. So you put a piece of paper out, it's going to look like 10 years old a week later. So, it's like, okay, let's make it classy. And bullet points, because when people are on vacation, they leave some brain cells at home. So it's our job to make sure to be like, here's the Wi-Fi password in case of emergency, top 5 things to do. Another thing I like to brand, because you're hearing a pattern with me, the warm and fuzzies, and make people feel fabulous. Now that my company is growing, I can invest more back in. So I have a little welcome bag for my guests, a little goodie bag, Mutiny vodka. I'm going to see you in Porto in a couple of weeks, correct?
You won't, unfortunately, not this year, but I'll catch you very soon, for sure.
Okay, well, anyway, I'm bringing little Mutiny vodkas and little Crucian rums with me. I'll put in my handbag, so I like to surprise people, like, oh, here you go. And anyway, Mutiny vodka is made in St Croix, from the breadfruit, not potato, from the breadfruit of St Croix, and they're doing very well. And also VI coffee made in the U.S. Virgin Islands. I provide a sample, and also Bush tea. I provide a sample made by a local who does the Crucian foodie tours of St Croix, and a map. And I put this in a clear bag with a nice blue and yellow ribbon, because blue and yellow or blue and gold are my colors. And so keeping up with the branding, and then I put also my logo on it. So again, keeping up with the branding. But so when they walk in, oh, wow, this is so nice. A little taste of St. Croix. I've traveled all day. And sometimes that vodka tastes good to someone when they've been on a flight for 8 hours.
Certainly do. I love that. I love that, Robin. You mentioned that you brought on 10 properties very early, straight away at the start of your journey. Am I right in saying you've got over 40 properties now on the island,
Yes.
largest property management company? Where did the rest of the inventory come from? Was it just a case of organic growth, just due to how good you were, or you became known as the property manager on the island? How did that growth occur?
Thank you very much. Honestly, it was organic growth. I felt very lucky because people saw my work ethic. And, it's a small island. There's only 50,000 people on the island. So they see someone working a lot. I don't think that was normal. And I don't want that to put down anyone, because there are a lot of fabulous hard workers in St. Croix that I love. But people would see my office till 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday night saying, oh my goodness, all you do is work. But again, that was in my DNA, and there was a lot to do. So because of that, people saw me working. They said, oh, go to Robin, she'll take care of you. Also, I'm not a realtor. I'm 100% property management. I stay in my lane. So realtors, they don't want to deal with property management. I've had realtors tell me, oh, you're crazy. I'm like, okay, thanks. Thanks for the business. And they refer business to me because it's the best of both worlds. They can refer a client, but if they want to sell their property, they go right back to the realtor. So that's where I really position myself as a Switzerland. And because they refer business to me, and then, oh, you're selling it, here you go. And it's sometimes sad for me when they sell, because I'm like, oh, I hope the new buyer wants to keep it as a vacation rental. And luckily, one of the properties I managed, Hibiscus Beach House, which was doing very well, we got new buyers in February and they stayed on. So things like, there's opportunities like that, but that's how it's 100% referral. People referring me because I make them look good too, because I take care of my guests, I take care of my owners and the properties, and it makes the realtor look good as well. So I have a great relationship with several realtors on island.
You mentioned some tech that you use, Streamline and others. Are there any tech providers or softwares, other ones than you've mentioned, that you could just not do without in terms of scaling to where you are today?
Well, TouchStay. That is one I was introduced to last year, and I finally, as you can tell, I wear many hats. So I finally said, okay, I need to wake up in the morning and focus and getting this done to connect with TouchStay. I love touch stay for many reasons. First of all, you can tell the old-fashioned side of me is that I want to work with people that are kind, that I can relate to, and they are consistently kind and were patient with me and getting back to their emails. To be honest. So I said, oh, I want to work with these people. It was just an energy and vibe I got. And then I love the online welcome guide that they have, because I could speak with them and say, listen, I have a welcome book at each property. I would like consistency. So they were open to me sending information. So the online welcome book for me reflects with the welcome book, the physical welcome book in each property, which I love. Also, I love the touch points that it can reach out 3 to 5 times between when the guest books to when they arrive. I love that. And that's decreased my calls by 50%. It's amazing. Which I love, because I'm all about customer service. And I said it earlier, being a people pleaser meets entrepreneur can be a little challenging. So I love the fact that I have these systems that make my guests feel fabulous, but my phone isn't ringing off the hook like every 20 minutes. So that feels great to have. Also, I'm going to pronounce, I always pronounce wrong. Sorry, Christoph, if you're listening. Reviews, love this concept he created, because now I have over 8 years of presence in property management in St. Croix, but 3 years with my own company, is that I have reviews on Airbnb and VRBO and Google, which is fabulous, but no one has time to say, oh, is this person legit? I need to look everywhere. They don't have time for that. I mean, I don't. So I love the fact that on my website, I have a guest reviews tab, and you click on that, and there it has the reviews from Google, Airbnb, and VRBO. Again, transparency, very important for me. I want people to know, like, oh, Robin, she's going to take care of me. Because again, stateside, not a lot of Americans know about the U.S. territories. I mean, I didn't, and which was very sad. And so I love the fact that there's a place for people to say, wait, you can go to the Caribbean, you don't need a passport? Come on over. And so again, preparing them for success.
Excellent. That's great. Kind of coming to the end, Robin. Wow, that's flown. Obviously, you're a very ambitious person, and somebody who puts a lot of time and effort in, probably too much time and effort in, I imagine sometimes. What are the goals and plans for the next 5 years? Let's say even 12 months to 12 to 24 months.
Thank you. Thank you for asking. Well, I would love St. Croix to be discovered as a hidden gem to the European market. I'm working right now with a UK PR woman who's amazing. She has 40 years of experience, and to create a fam trip in 2025 in St. Croix. As well as another woman from Croatia I met through Vacation Rental World Summit in November. We're in talks to hopefully create a trip in 2025. And it could be up to 40 people. So hopefully, but working on that. And also with my team, just to continue to create my stable team of on the ground, because right now I'm actually working remote in New Hampshire. So I'm talking to you from New Hampshire and not the island, in case you're wondering, like, hey, there's no blue skies or anything in the background. So before I go to Europe. But it's a wonderful opportunity because I'm able to now work remote the majority of the time here because of the 8 years that I had working on island. And also I would like to work in the market of speaking engagements in conferences. I've been through a lot. I feel like I've survived through a lot, and I would love to help out anyone when they're starting out and let them know they're not alone. Because it's a great business, but we need those little self-help conversations.
Absolutely. Yeah.
To be like, and that's why I felt so blessed to meet you, felt so blessed to meet everyone at Vacation Rental World Summit the last couple of years, because everyone has a passion like me, and I felt like a party of one. I said, wow, this is a great industry, but am I going in the right direction? So it's wonderful to connect with fellow global leaders to know I am going in the right direction, but I want to improve and be better. So that's what I want to do. I want to be like a fine wine and get better with time. So because I'm just a Chardonnay right now, I really want to be Chianti.
Well, Robert, I mean, for anyone who wasn't in Barcelona at the Scale Show, you spoke very eloquently. You spoke about working with local contractors and just being kind. And I think that's reflected in everything that you do. So I'd like to thank you so much for coming on with us today. If anybody wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way?
By my email, that's Robin at Premier Properties USVI.com. You can also look on my website, Premier Properties USVI.com. And you can see it's one-stop shopping. I've added a guest relations option. And there I recommend private chefs to a spa. Maybe you want a massage to have a masseuse come to your house so that you rent it. So all sorts of things I like to do to provide my guests to have a fabulous time in paradise.
Fantastic. And I will definitely be in touch about that farm trip next year from the UK. Robin, thanks so much for your time today. You take care of yourself.
Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.